I just got back from Milan after spending a week there to see the Winter Olympics, and there are so many amazing things that I'm reflecting upon. And one of them is how Norway, this country of just 5 million people, is just crushing the medal count, right? They are far above the number two team, which as of right now is the United States. And their population, obviously by comparison, is significantly smaller. So, how are they doing it? And recently, some of you may have seen some articles that have been going around about how Norway approaches youth sports. And I thought it was really interesting for parents of youth athletes to be able to reflect upon and take a look at, because maybe there's some lessons that we can glean from it. In Norway, they don't even keep score until the kids are 13 years old. And even though I know this is very contrary to what many of us think as Americans, all the kids get participation trophies just to encourage them to continue to stick with these sports. And the kids, they actually have a say in how much they train and whether they want to compete, as opposed to being maybe a little more forced to do something like that. And the kids are not even sorted into travel teams or elite tracks until their teenage years. And so because of this, the stats show that about 93% of children in Norway play organized sports, which is much higher than we see here in the United States. When these kids are not pushed into competition too early, they learn to enjoy the game, they develop broader skills, and they avoid this early burnout and some of the overuse injuries that we sometimes see here at CHP, leading them to stay in sports longer, leading to healthier, happier associations with it for the rest of their lives. And so this approach, it really challenges the idea that games need to count when kids are really, really young. Because in Norway, as we're seeing with the results of these Winter Olympics, they just learn to enjoy them. And that leads actually to longer athletic development in many cases, because they then are internally motivated to want to stick with it. Compare this to the United States, where many of our kids, they specialize early, they're on travel teams early, they're even dealing with trying to get ranked nationally at a very young age, and there's this intense pressure to win and get noticed, to move up in the rankings, to maybe make the next elite travel or AAU team. And as a result, many high school kids get burnt out and quit long before they're able to get to the stage where they may be able to think about the goals they had when they initially started. Now, it's not to say that the US approach is necessarily wrong, but it's something maybe to consider when we look at, again, the results of Norway, who focus on fun and freedom first and facilitating an enjoyment of their sports that create this longevity. And ultimately, the results, as we're seeing in this Winter Olympics, speak for themselves. What does this mean for you if you are the parent of a youth athlete prior to high school? Maybe it means that the number one thing is not to ensure that your child gets to the top. It's to facilitate a love of playing the game, playing the sport in the first place. Encourage them for multi-sport play, playing multiple sports. Let them have more of a say in how much they practice, how much they compete, and keep the focus on developing the skills and having fun and building that confidence that's so important for later success and just enjoyment down the road. And then, if they decide to slow down in their participation in one sport or even switch sports, supporting through that, because, hey, we can always come back to it later. And as we're seeing in Norway, as kids grow up enjoying the sport, experience success in different ways, it's better for their long-term development, and again, may lead to more success down the road in the first place. And this isn't to say necessarily that the American approach is wrong and the Norwegian approach is better, and vice versa. It's to say, hey, maybe some other approaches like we're seeing here, there's nuggets that we can take to maybe improve the way that maybe we're approaching youth sports with our kids.